Being considered by Nebraska senators would change rules around school lunch debt. LB 855 would ban schools from using a debt collection agency for money owed for students' meals. It would also not allow schools to collect interest, fees, or enforce penalties for unpaid balances on school meal accounts. The bill took center stage at the legislative hearing in Lincoln today. Lincoln Senator Danielle Conrad, who presented the bill, says the practice hurts families on the edge.
When they get turned over to collections, it really starts to spiral for them. Imagine a blizzard of phone calls and emails and certified letters and court hearings that these companies who buy this debt or pursue this debt start to send out to folks. And these folks can't afford a lawyer to represent them on these issues.
Conrad said Omaha Public Schools, the state's largest district, does not use debt collectors for school debt. One educator spoke in opposition, voicing concerns over how they would make up the costs of these unpaid meals, and said schools keep being asked to stretch their funds out.